And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, Darren back with you here at Cross Timbers Farm. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles. Boy, has it been a busy few days here on the farm. Our last cutting of hay for the year 2023 is in full swing. We could not have put in a order for better weather to cut hay. It's late August, 1st of September. For about the last week, we had a lot of rain. There was a hurricane in the Gulf that come through Florida, the Panhandle area, and into Georgia, South Carolina, and through by the coast of North Carolina, and my understanding back out into the Atlantic. And brought us a lot of rain, not necessarily out of the hurricane, but we got a lot of that rain on that front coming through. Not excessive rain, just good soaking rain. And when that hurricane moved on out a few days ago, it left us with absolutely bright blue skies, a little bit lower humidity, and temperatures in the low 80s. Boy, we've got that kind of weather on the forecast for like the next 5 days, 6 days. We could not have put in a better order for hay, cutting hay. All that moisture in the ground, and now this bright sun for the last day or two has really brought our growth stage to the peak. And it has really, the sun with the available moisture in the ground has really brought the starches and things up in our, and sugars up in our cool season grasses and legumes. And our hay is as prime right now in this test plot and our main hay field as it's just almost ever been. Definitely our test plot, it looks fantastic. It's postcard perfect. Well, of course, nothing's ever just perfect, but it's about as close as you can get. You may notice I got a new hat. My daughter is a nurse, and she comes by and visits with us ever so often, and she's been really fussing at me about being out in the hay fields in this bright sunshine and heat without something shading my ears and neck. And she keeps saying, Dad, you're going to end up with skin cancer. Your skin already is dark as a dungeon and looks like leather on the back of your neck. You need to do something. She showed up yesterday with me a new hat to keep the sun off of me, so I'm really enjoying it. It's nice. I'll sure use it on these sunny days in the field and on the tractor. I can already tell the difference. It's nice and cool. But in any event, we cut our main hay fields yesterday, and late yesterday evening, and they look fantastic. We're getting ready to ted those shortly. But first, while we still have our Farm Maxx FDM 135 drum mower hooked to the tractor, before we unhook all this stuff, we got to cut our test plot. So we're going to start here in a moment cutting that test plot. Boy, it looks good. I can't wait to see what our yield is going to be off the test plot. I think it will be better than our second cutting. Our first cutting was fantastic, and our second cutting dropped quite a bit. And there was some contributing factors to that, with very high temperatures and some lack of rain and no fertilizer. But the third cutting here, we've had abundant rain. We've had plenty of sunshiny days for optimal growth. We've had we applied fertilizer. We didn't go very heavy with the fertilizer, but we did fertilize it with commercial fertilizer. I believe 1717 is what we used on it. And it looks fantastic. Our legumes are in bloom. That red clover's got the flower on it, not all of them, but several. They're right in that bloom stage. Our orchard and fescue and timothy has reached the peak. Cool season grass is your reproductive stage with a seed head, usually occurs at our first cutting. Our subsequent cuttings usually does not have the seed heads, but you have to pay attention to that hay. Those bunch grasses, cool season grasses, when they have filled out and got as thick as it appears they're going to get, and that growth stage has leveled off, you have to pay attention to your cool season grasses without the seed head developing to tell you when's prime. You have to now start paying attention to the growth stage of that hay. When it is filled out and got as full and as thick as it can get, and that growth stage of thickening out has kind of reached a peak and started leveling off. When it reaches that peak and starts to level off, when it is at its prime. Our orchard, timothy, and fescue grasses in this test plot are prime. For the last several days, they have kind of reached their prime. I'm not seeing much more new growth spreading out. It's time to cut this hay. So we're gonna get at it. We'll get it cut. Then we got to take our drum mower to the equipment shed, get it all blown off and cleaned up, take care of your equipment, and park it into the shed, and then get our tedder ready. So we got to ted our main hay fields today too. And hopefully right before dark we'll be able to ted our test plot here too. So stick with us. We got the drum mower parked and our tedder hooked up, our Rhino PT207, and we got everything hooked up and greased, and we may have to stop at one point and adjust our tines to the ground. I think I've got them close, but I'll run it a little bit and see if I have to stop and adjust them. We can do that. So we're back in our main hayfield now, and we're going to start tedding. We cut this yesterday and it's looking good. It's drying down pretty quick, so we need to get this tedded. Okay folks, we got all of our main hayfield tedded. We cut that yesterday and tedded it today. Earlier today, well, it's still evening, we cut our test plot and I just finished tedding it. Man, that test plot was so thick that it was almost hard to cut. You couldn't even tell where you'd been. That drum mower was kicking out wads of hay so high that it was kind of tough to tell where you were. But it's done, and because it was so thick, we went ahead and run the tedder over it here before dark. Just to go ahead and spread it out. So in the morning through midday, it'll be already spread out, and we'll ted it again tomorrow. We'll have to ted it very gently. The front and our test plot here is socked plumb full of red clover. I mean lots and lots and lots of it. So we'll have to be careful tedding this. There's some clover in our main hayfield, but not a lot. It's spotty, where we use 2,4-D application on that field. Sprayed the whole field back earlier in the early summer, and it knocked most of our clover out. That we're going to have to frost seed again this winter. But our tedding is done day one on this, tedding day two back there on our main hayfield. So we'll ted again tomorrow, and just each day just keep an eye on it. I believe we're going to have good dry down weather. The humidity's low to medium, and we're expecting blue skies and plentiful sunshine, and be nice if we had a little light breeze too to help dry this down. But I think we're going to do well with our dry down. And our crop, this second and third cutting, is going to be a lot bigger than we had on first cutting and second cutting for this. So when it comes time to start doing some raking and baling, we'll bring you back with us. But for now, we'll ted again the next couple days and go from there. Thanks for being with us here on the farm today for some mowing and tedding, and we sure do appreciate it. And God bless you and your family, and hope you all have a great day.